So being at the forefront of technology innovation, I don't know about being at the forefront, but there's a lot of things we are working on. So we were working on My Alaska, which is more a means to an end for us. It's basically moving towards being innovative to kind of having a single sign-on for residents. Basically a portal where you can go in, log in once, authenticate against maybe a master resident index, and then be authenticated against all state agencies for services rather than it look more stovepiped and separate. But we've also got Workplace Alaska that we've launched that is the kind of a recruitment deal that you can go onto the main webpage or from your mobile device and do looking for jobs. One of the things that we're doing more innovatively is that we have a challenge in Bush, Alaska, and that's for connectivity. So a lot of our state agencies that are out in remote areas where there's no road systems to get there, the challenge we have is the old T1s that we use to connect up there through commercial tariff, we have it, and then backhaul through satellite, causes huge latency problems. So recently we've been experimenting with some of those remote areas of just going to secure private connectivity through general available commercial internet. And so that's been kind of one of the things we're toying with, and it's really starting to work. We've brought our latency down in one area, Dillingham, from like 600 to 60. And so latency is the delay. So you can have a pipe available at a certain speed, they would call it, but really it's more capacity. So that's some of the things we're doing to be more innovative in our state to try and figure out how to meet the challenges out there. And there's other things we're working on, but that's what comes to mind. So the best thing about working for state government, I would say, is just the fulfillment I get from understanding what I do every day, supporting the residents of our state, enabling the services, the underlying foundation that provide those services. The staff I work with, sharing that vision that we're here to serve the residents ultimately at the end of the day. And, our current administration's got some really great goals for education, public safety, infrastructure and transportation. Some of those kind of things, we have a strong military state, and also our economic development with the gas pipeline initiatives. And finding ways that we can use technology to help underpin and support those, that's very rewarding for me. It's about serving something bigger than yourself and giving back to the state I was born and raised in. My favorite project would have to be, there's a broadband task force that was created about 3 years ago, and I got to be a part of that, putting together a report and a study for the governor's office. And it's really been neat because of the broadness of the project itself. Instead of just being focused on one area, it's our entire state and connectivity, and it affects those areas I talked about earlier regarding education and public safety. How do we connect to those remote locations and bring that kind of better service out there? There's a lot of things with the federal government for how we subsidize and get like our E-rate for education to provide a better education and opportunity for children that live in remote locations where there is no road systems. Equal opportunity for healthcare and public safety. Alaska has a high rate of behavioral health, domestic violence, suicides per capita. We're one of the highest, if not the highest. We have long, dark winters. They're cold outside, so a lot of times in those remote locations, you're stuck in a small area together. And so behavioral health issues are something that's a big concern as well. How do we provide better connectivity and services to those? So this broadband study was a project that looks more holistic at the whole state of Alaska, the current services that are there. What are some of the recommendations on getting better connectivity and broadband to our citizens? Also looking at the Arctic is another big, huge focus area for the federal government, for private sector, for our state. There's a lot more exploration. There's been ice melt up there. We've got talk about maybe putting in, deep water harbors up there. Those kind of things are really making us focus on our connectivity, our communications, our security. So the broadband gave me a bigger focus. Got to meet a lot of federal stakeholders. FCC Chairman Wheeler was up there to our state visiting, and NTIA. So I think that's why I enjoyed it. It's just I love to get on the big picture projects that really encompass the whole entire state. It seems to me that there is a trend towards changing to what our new world's going to look like in a few years. The new stakeholders, the new voters who communicate socially, with their fingers when their best friend's sitting right next to them. Those are going to be the new voters. Those are going to be the new residents of our state. And how do we connect with that group? So I think change is trending toward becoming more app-centric around mobility, not maybe being so much in the infrastructure business as much as finding ways that we can really align to business value to our agencies who provide those services to our residents. And so I feel that trend coming. I see that change already starting to happen. We're working on some initiatives that are more cloud-based, finding ways to allow our workforce to be more mobile, still being secure while we do it, but able to access the things they need to do their job, and then also for our residents. The next 6 months, my focus will remain on trying to do more with less. Obviously we have less money today to work with. Everyone's felt the challenge of our economy and sequestration and things like that affect us, the complexity that happens. So how do we keep things moving forward in a cost-effective manner? To find more ways to gain efficiencies. We've been working on a best value process out of Arizona State University, and our procurement staff have been working on our core contract for connectivity in our core areas. And it's already starting to look at where we can drive down costs with actually getting better quality of service and performance. So doing more with less doesn't really mean, it means exactly what it says, more not just in terms of quantity, but in quality as well. And then less, not always just about money, but maybe less in terms of resources and the time it takes to get stuff done. So a focus is going to be to continue looking at operationally keeping the trains running and more effective and efficient while we find strategic ways to trend towards that new technology that you're talking about, those changes. And so that's kind of really the focus area. It's looking at ways that we can continue to do that and support our government, line up to the business needs of our customers that we serve. They're the ones that really are ultimately serving the resident at the end of the day. So my term is trickle up service management. It starts with us support agencies, supporting the agencies who support the residents, and it really should be all about the outcome to the resident at the end of the day. And measuring success and performance should really be based on that outcome. And a lot of times we look at just a price tag and say, okay, it's all about the dollars. But you might cut cost here, and then that might cause an adverse effect where now you're getting more support calls that really your costs haven't gone down, and maybe they've increased by other ways. So we have to look at quality overall to the outcome to our customers and ultimately to our residents to measure our success. So the next 6 months is focusing on more ways to build that platform and base for that and for the change that is coming to our state.